I think the United States of America, the country that I'm in love with and has been so good to me, I think we're better than that. I think our country is so much better than that. And I think we have such an opportunity in front of us. We do. We do. Because every time, every single time we speak up and stand up for James Lowe and the millions like him who live in the darkness, completely forgotten by Washington and this government, every time we do it, America rises. Every single time that we speak up for 47 million people in this country who have no health care coverage, America rises. Every time we, us, have a little backbone and speak up for 35 million people who went hungry in the richest nation on the planet last year, America rises. Every time that we speak up for 200,000 men and women, patriots, who wore the uniform of the United States of America. Every time we stand up with some courage and passion for them, America rises. Let me tell you what's going to happen in America. And it's going to start right here on January the 8th with the New Hampshire primary. The voters here in New Hampshire are going to say the United States of America is better than this. We're going to take this democracy back. We are rising up together as a people. We're going to make this country work for everybody, not just for the few. And there is going to be a wave that sweeps across America that cannot be contained. Cannot be contained. And all those media pundits who keep yapping on television about this poll and that poll and who's going to do this and what happened to Hillary last night and whatever. All of that, they're going to all say, where did this come from? How did this happen? Where did this come from? Because what you're going to do is you're going to show that the sovereign power in the United States of America still rests with the people. And it's going to show on January the 8th in this primary. Now, I want to say one other thing. I listened to, we have great candidates running for the Democratic nomination. Good people, great candidates. But I listen to some people talk, and what I hear is, well, this is what we need to do. We need to sit at a table with insurance companies, drug companies, oil companies, and negotiate, and they'll voluntarily give their power away. Not in my world. I think that is a complete fantasy. I think, I'll tell you when I believe they'll give their power away. I believe they'll give their power away when we take their power away. That's when I think they'll give their power away. And you better, on behalf of your children and your grandchildren, you better send somebody into that arena that's ready for the fight. Somebody who has what it takes inside. Somebody who has the guts, the determination, the backbone, and the fight to lead and carry on that battle. Because it is right there, right in front of us. You know, I was thinking as I was listening to Elizabeth talk, I grew up in a way some of you did, I know, in mill towns and mill villages. I grew up in rough neighborhoods. And there was a lot of fighting that went on when I was young. I remember when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I came home from a fight one day, all bloodied up and beaten up, getting my butt kicked. And I came into the house, and my father called me over, and he said, sit down, son. He said, I want to tell you something. Don't you ever start a fight. I don't want to hear that you started a fight. But I want you to listen to me and listen to me carefully. Don't you ever walk away from a fight. And tomorrow, I want you to go out and find that kid, and I want you to kick his butt. And the next day, I want you to keep standing up and fighting for yourself. This is about self-respect and dignity. And I did. First, I fought for myself. I managed to survive. And then, for 20 years, I did the same thing in courtrooms. You know, I would go into the courtroom with a child. I represent a lot of kids, or a family. And on the other side would be the corporations and all their army of lawyers and all the money in the world arrayed against them. And by the way, this notion that I should have just walked in, I guess, and said, you know, give us what we want. We're nice people. Here's what I discovered. They gave us what we wanted and what we were entitled to, and gave these children justice when we beat them. That's when they gave us justice. And that's exactly what it's going to take. We have a monumental battle in front of us. We do. We have a responsibility, a huge moral responsibility to our children, to our grandchildren, to preserve the planet, to make sure they have health care, to make sure that everybody in this country has a decent job, and the middle class actually is alive, surviving, thriving in America. All those things are the things that we have a responsibility to do together. But I'll tell you this. If we stand up, starting on January the 8th, right here in New Hampshire, if you stand up, if you do the things that need to be done, we can change this country. We can make America what it needs to be. We can make America the country that all of us are proud of. And we'll be able, when we do that, to look our children in the eye, just like your parents did and your grandparents did, to look them in the eye and say, we left you a better life, and we left America better than we found it. That's what we're going to do together. God bless you. Be glad to take your questions. Right here.
Look me in the eye and tell me what you're going to do to get us out of Iraq and get the United States to stop killing people.
Okay. Can you all hear the question in the back? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I will end the war. All combat troops will be out of Iraq, and all combat missions will be ended in the first year that I'm President of the United States. And you have my word on that. We will have no permanent military bases in Iraq. There are other things that have to be done concurrent with that. You know, we need to be engaging the Shia leaders into trying to reach a political. We need to be engaged in the region, particularly the stabilize Iraq. But you have my word. I look you in the eye and every single person in this. How about this gentleman right over here?
That's fine and good, but what's going to happen with the Palestinian issue? Because truthfully, until the Palestinian issue is settled, there will never be peace in the Middle East or anywhere in Asia.
Again, can you hear in the back? Okay. The Israeli-Palestinian issue is, as you well know, is a long-standing and difficult one. And I think it is a responsibility of the President to stay engaged and to keep America engaged over the long term in this issue. There are a number of things that we need to do. You know, I know from my own experience in Israel that there are Israeli leaders who want peace, and I also know there are Palestinian leaders who want peace. So the question is, how do we, and actually last time I was there, which is a little over a year ago, they had unilaterally withdrawn from Gaza. We've seen what's happening with in Gaza recently. They were actually talking about unilaterally withdrawing from the West Bank at that point. I think the roadmap that was developed was a good one several years ago. Essentially what it did was create a series of baby steps that led to the big final issues that had to be resolved, the final result being a two-state solution, two states living side by side with peace and security. But I think the most important piece of this is for America to have the perseverance, the discipline, and the stick-to-itness to be able to stay engaged. Because going over there and appearing for a photo op does not help. I mean, America, we saw the conference that happened in Annapolis, which is great. And in fact, I talked to Mayor called me because I'd gotten to know him a little bit. He called me when they were leaving Annapolis, and I actually asked him. I said, what is America's role in this? Are we going to be participating in the peace talks? And he said, actually, the talks themselves are bilateral because we didn't want America, like in between us and the Palestinians. But America still, and he said this to me, America still plays a very important constructive role in this process by being supportive, by offering suggestions, etc. At the end of the day, America cannot impose peace on anybody. I mean, we can't. You see that in Iraq right now. It doesn't work. But America can play a very important role, and the President of the United States can play a very important role, and I am committed to doing that as President of the United States. How about, I want to find a woman. How about this lady right over here? Yes.
What are you going to do about the high cost of copay for Medicaid and Medicare people that have that? What are you going to do about it?
Well, what we're going to do about it is we're going to have a universal health care system that works for everybody. So that basically what happens is if you are a lower